Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. BKP here, and it is time for BKP Politics on FYNTV.com. We are in Studio A. That means things are a little different because then I can look across the room, voice a rural America there. Studio A, I'm your host, BKP. No, I have not been whisked away to Gitmo. You think if Brad Raffensperger, Georgia Secretary of State, had enough pull and could get me sent to Gitmo, do you think that would happen? Hell yeah, I do. But no, I've yet to been whisked away to Gitmo. I'm not at Gitmo. But the good news is if I get sent and I get sent to Gitmo, okay, then Biden says he's going to close it. There's two places I love being. One, I love being attacked by liberal media, and two, I like being on Brad Raffensperger, Georgia Secretary of State's S list. I like it. It's where I want to be. Okay, folks. Do you remember when we were it's Thursday morning. Thursday morning. What happens today? Let me see through my stack of stuff. What has taken place today? Is today a vote on, let me see. Do you know who this lady is? I'll talk about this in a minute. Give me number 7. Do you know who she is? Well, it says Lindsey Boylan, right? Number 7. Just stay there just a minute. Do you know who she is? Number 4. Just a couple quick things that number 4. Joe Manchin, Democrat Senator Joe Manchin says he will vote for Biden's interior pick, Deb Haaland, after throwing budget nominee Neera Tanden into doubt by refusing to back her over mean tweets. Now, I get why Joe Manchin, Senator of West Virginia, I get why he says he will, not over mean tweets. So let me just say this, because I know this audience, you research everything. We want Joe Biden to pull Neera Tanden's nomination to be the director of the OMB, okay? Not because of mean tweets. So when I see Joe Manchin is going to, not vote for Neera Tanden over mean tweets, my good friends in the state of West Virginia, the woman he will support here will shut down your coal mines, shut down your natural gas leases, okay? The woman that Joe Manchin says he will vote for in West Virginia, natural gas, coal, all right, fracking, your energy jobs will be completely destroyed. And Joe Manchin, your senator, is helping do that by supporting this lady, Deb Haaland, for Interior Secretary. So I just thought my good friends there in West by God, Virginia, should know that right out of the box. There's a confirmation hearing today at noon. Number 15, okay? This is a confirmation hearing today. Oh, I think it starts at 10 a.m. This is a man who thinks he's a woman, okay? This is Richard. This is a man who thinks he's a woman. This is a man who thinks he's a woman. This is a man who thinks that your children should not be forced into gender identity should not be forced at all. They should decide on their own somewhere around 12. okay? The confirmation hearing for this man who thinks he's a woman is number 11, okay? Assistant Health Secretary nominee, Dr. Rachel/Richard Levine. That is today on C-SPAN 3 at 10 a.m. I want to hear Republicans question Dr. Levine today. Now, Becerra, let me go here. This is who she would help work for, okay? Assistant Health Services Secretary nominee. She would actually work for, where is one of Becerra's pictures here? Had it here just moments ago. Give me number 13. Okay. Now the man who thinks he's a woman would work for Becerra, okay, from out in California. All right. Becerra, we talk about abortion. We'll talk about that a little later. All right. Just saying. The confirmations you need to watch for. Now, I do not know why they caved. Give me number 3 before we get into our first real segment of the morning. Sunday voting restored in Georgia bill that tightens election rules. Now, HB 531 and SB 241, but HB 531 would end Sunday voting. Okay? Sunday voting needs to end. It's called Souls to the Polls. So I am going to predict there a couple days ago in the hearings concerning Souls to the Polls, or HB 531, the omnibus election bill, there was a Jewish fella. Lord, won't I get attacked for that? There was a Jewish fellow that went to the podium and was very upset that they took out. Very upset that they took out Sunday voting. It was offensive to him. Right? Offensive to him. He did not vote on Saturday. No, they didn't check to see if it's offensive to Catholics, or maybe some people that take Sunday, their religion serious on Sunday. Yours doesn't matter, but they're restoring Sunday voting in Georgia. They have one day, and it was set up so Fair Fight and all of the NAACP and the activists could get all the church, Reverend Warnock, okay, Ebenezer Baptist Church, they could get all the churches whipped up into a frenzy, and right after church, instead of predominantly for black churches, okay, they can whisk all the souls over and have them vote before they take them to the buffet for the afternoon, and then maybe some bingo later in the day or whatever. Yes, so Sunday voting has been restored in Georgia. Souls to the polls in the bill. So they're not going to deal with that. Now, yesterday, Brad Raffensperger, the Georgia Secretary of State, and we'll get into that in just a moment, he came out with a statement. All right, he came out with a statement. Give me number 12. Remember, night before last, he came out with a statement saying Georgia ran a historically secure, effective, and reliable election last year, and Dominion voting systems was a key part of that. Remember, I did a segment yesterday talking about how he was laying the groundwork to help Dominion in their lawsuit against Trump supporters, much like Mike Lindell and Rudy Giuliani and Linwood, and whether you like these people or not, Sidney Powell, President of the United States, Donald Trump, news networks that put out the false information. So we talked about that yesterday, and he had the webinar with them. There's some great information out on that. Yesterday in my segment, I said he also, by doing this, was laying the groundwork to attack HB 531 and SB 241. Okay? So play this came out yesterday, and it wasn't long after this came out, very shortly, that Brad Raffensperger, Georgia Secretary of State, put his defense statement out against this. Play Fair Fight. This is Stacey Abrams' Fair Fight. America, watch this. Play that video.
They tried to overturn an election.
We're going to fight like hell.
Attacked our democracy. Pushing false conspiracies. And now, these Georgia Republicans want to make them happy, making it harder for Georgians to vote.
Vote by mail, in my view, is not acceptable.
They must be stopped. Tell your lawmaker to protect our right to vote. Fair Fight Action is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Okay, so Fair Fight has come out against HB 531 and SB 241, and as you can see, they're very upset over it. And you know, I as I've always said, nothing I enjoy anymore is the day when a Republican thinks the media likes them. And if Brad Raffensperger, he is so stuck on which way to go. If he ever thought about becoming a Democrat, somebody asked me one day, do you think Brad Raffensperger will become a Democrat? Because he signed and he laid the groundwork and put the agreement together for the consent order back March of 2019 for the drop boxes and the Mark Zuckerberg money and the no excuse, anybody can have an absentee ballot. He put that disaster together, and Fair Fight and Stacey Abrams loved it, okay, as you well know. And somebody asked me the other day, said, do you think Brad Raffensperger will switch to a Democrat? Well, you just noticed right there. I tell people, no, Democrats don't get as excited. They love to see Republicans fall, but they don't get excited about when they switch party. There's only been one time, and let me go back in the memory vault here, and they even stabbed him in the back. Trust me, they stabbed him in the back before he died with cancer. And I'm going to tell you, there's only one time I remember Democrats actually excited about a Republican switching parties, and that was Darlin Arlen Specter of Pennsylvania. Because what did Darlin Arlen Specter of Pennsylvania do for Barack Hussein Obama? Gave him that 60. Democrats had 60. They had veto proof. They had the supermajority, what's called the supermajority in the Senate, and he brought that to them. And remember, if you remember, Democrats made Specter all kinds of deals that he would chair committees and all kinds of deals in the very minute this guy with cancer, which I never liked Arlen Specter anyway. He was never a Republican to me, much like a Mitt Romney of today and Brad Raffensperger in Georgia. But remember, they promised him all of these committee assignments and make a big deal out of him. And the guy died with cancer, right? And they stabbed him in the back as soon as he made the switch. So when asked, do you think Democrats, Raffensperger are going to become a Democrat? Answer is no. Democrats don't care. You see that yesterday in that. Well, I guess Brad Raffensperger is trying to say to Stacey Abrams and the Democrats, and I don't know what moderates out there, hey, wait a minute. I'm not the bad guy. So he tweeted out, this guy is about as dense, okay? I mean, I'd like to see right now, what I'd really like to see is a nice tweet on this guy. Give me number 2. Brad Raffensperger says yesterday, we are reviewing bills. Now, the reason I bring this up, because I know we have national viewers, and I'm not trying to bore you, but you're watching other people talk about, okay? All right, I see sensationalized shows, programs, where guys and gals, they get on there and they, you're hearing Georgia Senate just passed SB 67, okay? Absentee ballots, you must have an ID, okay? So SB 67. So if you're out there watching some of the big national shows, what I try to break down here is what is truly happening to these attempts to change election law. It's far from over. The battle is this week. That's the reason I'm so focused. This guy, it's such a disaster. It's despicable what he's doing, okay, with him doubling down and tripling down and quadrupling down on Dominion voting machines. Now he's totally, with this, he did not have to have that webinar yesterday. If he wanted to do a Dominion voting machine, a thank you lap, no, seriously, go back to that one just a minute, okay? Now think about it today, and some of you, I see some of your videos out there that you put up, and some of the national big names, and it's not, I don't have anything against them, and they're running very hot, sensationalized stories. Hey, just in, we heard SB 67. Now let me tell you what that really means. No. Don't get your knickers all whipped up into a frenzy. Now, I understand some of my job is to come here and they say, well, your job is to whip, your audience into a frenzy. What I'm trying to say, okay, is we've got a long way to go. So if you're out there paying attention to Georgia, give me number 12, all right? And I'm not going backwards on what we did yesterday. But yesterday on February 24th, okay, yesterday afternoon, I did not get a chance to watch. Yesterday afternoon, the state of Georgia, the Senate, was holding hearings on SB 241. A great piece of legislation. It's going the distance. I'm not thrilled, 100% thrilled with HB 531, especially with them, adding back in Sunday voting. But between these two bills, America, you still have your eyes on Georgia. What are we going to do to change this, try to fix the disaster that took place? As President Trump said, Georgia was a disaster. This is the week. Some of you are saying, well, I watched the show yesterday. You said this yesterday. You got nothing new. Yes, I got it. I just want to double down. This is the week that you need. I just showed you the video. Fair fight. They understand the big picture. We can't get caught with little sound bites, and we can't get caught with, people that are sensationalizing SB 67 and what's in the bills. We can't get caught in that. This week is it. Monday, everything has to come out of committee Monday to cross over for these laws to be passed. And then we have to have a governor to sign them. And then the day they are signed, we have to be prepared because you see fair fight in them. They're ready to go to court. This guy is laying the groundwork for Stacey Abrams in court. That's why I'm so redundant. Stay focused on what the hell is happening here. Stacey Abrams is they don't like Brad Raffensperger. And I don't know who, when Brad drove to work this morning, I don't know outside of his wife and the possibility of his dog, and I guess he has children, all right? So I don't want to get too personal, but outside of his wife and his dog, I don't know who this guy thinks likes him. Really, I don't. The Democrats don't like him. They showed that in that video they put out yesterday. He probably ran right into his office and just cried tears like, hey, I'm on your side, and why are you doing that to me in an ad? Don't lump me in with David Ralston. Don't lump me in with anybody else. I'm on your side. Sorry, Brad. We never help a Republican. And he's not really Republican. So yesterday, he holds a webinar with Dominion Voting Systems. I told you yesterday, watch. He is trying to help Fair Fight and Stacey Abrams take down HB 531 and SB 241. Now, go back over, because we gotta get out of this, to number 1. This is his statement. This is his statement, okay? After he's in his office and he sees probably the Fair Fight video with his name in there, he puts out, we are reviewing bills. Once we see something that prioritizes the security and accessibility of the elections, we'll throw in support. Wait a minute. Yes, we'll throw in support. Accessibility. Wow. At the end of the day, many of these bills are reactionary to a 3-month disinformation campaign that could have been prevented. At the end of the day, many of these bills are reactionary to a 3-month disinformation campaign that could have been prevented. So see, SB 67 to him is reactionary. Absentee ballots requiring identification, reactionary. 531, reactionary. SB 241, reactionary. He's laying the groundwork for the attorney to go into the court and say, Your Honor, the Secretary of State here even says it's a disinformation campaign and these bills were just reactionary. This guy has laid out everything. Let me just wrap up with what I have, because like I said, I don't know who likes Brad. Give me number 2. This is a tweet he put out. Okay. Could have been prevented. This is a tweet he put out. This guy made a deal with the Democrats in March. Made a deal with Democrats in March. Okay. This guy is who hit the Secretary of State's office, along with Jordan Fuchs, the Assistant Secretary of State, along with, Gabriel Sterling, at that time worked for the Secretary of State. They made a deal with Dominion to bring those machines in and purchase those machines using your money. After that, this guy took Gabriel Sterling and made him a subcontractor. to implement the machines. We have no way of tracking if Gabriel Sterling, his LLC, took any other money outside of what he received from the Secretary of State's office to implement the voting machines. After the election was over, this guy stabbed the President of the United States in the back, stabbed Donald Trump in the back by recording a phone call. Maybe he did not, quote, himself record the call. He says he wasn't aware the call was being recorded, but somebody recorded that call that he gave permission to be on the line, and then said somebody released it to the Washington Post. And then this man's phone call made it into the articles of impeachment against the President of the United States. This man has backed Dominion all the way. This guy is a total disaster in this state. Now, as you out there are saying, what are we doing on election integrity laws, absentee ballots, drop boxes, mobile voting precincts? The list goes on and on and on. What does he say? At the end of the day, many of these bills are reactionary to a 3-month disinformation campaign that could have been prevented. Play fair fight one more time so I can show you whose side he is on. Stacey Abrams.
They tried to overturn an election.
We're gonna fight like hell.
Attacked our democracy. Pushing false conspiracies. And now, these Georgia Republicans want to make them happy, making it harder for Georgians to vote.
Vote by mail, in my view, is not acceptable.
They must be stopped. Tell your lawmaker to protect our right to vote. Verified Action is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Yes, sir. You talk about taking that, making it, you have to have an excuse for an absentee ballot, taking those drop boxes away, taking those voting mobile precincts away, making it where you have to have poll watchers. You take adjusting all of those items, and maybe he doesn't like number 8. Maybe this has upset him because, no, not that. I'm sorry. I apologize. That may have upset him too. That may have upset our viewers. But this may, in the SB 241, number 8 requires that the Secretary of State not move into any consent agreements without the consent of both chambers of the General Assembly. Wonder if that upset him, okay, in SB 241, requiring the Secretary of State not to be able to enter into any consent agreements without the consent of both chambers. Wonder if. Yesterday there was a webinar with Dominion. There's some great information on a website that was put out. I read this morning. I cannot actually, when I try to convey that to you, I don't do a very good job with it. But if you look up, if you'll just Google Brad Raffensperger, Secretary of State of Georgia, webinar with Dominion, you will find what I'm talking about. You can read it there and you'll get an understanding. We're going to take a break. Go ahead and give me number 4. Let me see. Wait a minute. I don't know. Yeah, this is interesting. Give me number 14. This came out yesterday at 6:12 p.m. 6:12 p.m. U.S. lawmakers should pass the Equality Act, and give the LGBTQ Americans overdue protections. This came out at 6:12 last night. We're going to talk about that when we return. Take us to break.